There will be something in your life that will give you the thought process that this is too much and what I have done I need to hold on to. But if Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Today, I want to extend the conversation about Robert. You see, Robert was struggling with his confidence. He sat outside his office with his hands on a steering wheel, sitting there, just trying to figure out what was he going to do next. You see, everybody around him saw the successful project manager. He didn't miss a deadline. His reports were polished. Anything that anybody was looking to make certain that it was done successfully, they often went to him to get. But Robert, sitting in his car that day, was sitting there knowing the truth. He was in hiding. You see, in every meeting that Robert attended, he watered down his ideas because he didn't want to make it seem like he was doing too much. And when he did share his ideas a couple of times along the way, somebody else took credit for them. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, where you are sharing what you believe is support to the team, only to find someone on that team take credit for all of your actions, not even acknowledge that you provided it. Yeah, many of you are already aware that Robert is just a subset of who I used to be. There was a time in my life, and I find myself having moments of going back where I have to be clear, not to dim down my brilliance, not to hide my light, because some of us are in spaces and places that make us believe that we got to hide who we are, that you cannot fully share how brilliant you are, that you are the one person in that room full of all those other individuals that can truly provide a solution that will help. But if you're like me, and the hue of the skin that you were born in makes others think that you are less than, makes others believe that there's no possible way, because in this room at this time, we have always done it this way. We have always come up with the best solution. So your solution may not add that much value, but you know, and a few of them actually know, that when you speak, strategy arrives. When you speak, a process is put in place. When you speak, action can be taken. But for this day and this moment, Robert felt like it was easier just to play small and just get along. If you see yourself in Robert, and there are 3 things I want to share with you today that can help you boost your confidence to stand in the rooms that you know you're supposed to be standing in, share the insight that you know needs to be given, and don't continue to allow your light to be dimmed. Here's the first thing. The first thing I want you to do is share. Speak up, even if you're not ready to speak. Share the information that you know needs to be shared. Don't allow yourself to continue to be pushed into the back burner. If you believe that you're going to wait until you really feel prepared, I want you to know that you will never feel fully prepared in order for you to share the information that you know to be true for that moment in that situation. Share it anyway. It's in the sharing that you get the opportunity to build your confidence. It's in the sharing that you get the opportunity to let others receive the insight that only you can give. Many of you know that I often share that you were built in purpose, on purpose, for purpose, and that purpose needs to be shared, because no one sees the world the way you see it. All of us are walking around with our personal rose-colored glasses or blue Ray-Bans, but I want you to know that what you have, it's worth it. So don't dim down your brilliance because other people can't take it. Here's the second thing I want you to do. Stop seeking approval for everybody around you. Too many times we don't share the courage that we already have because we're waiting for somebody else to give us approval to speak. I want you to know that you already have the authority given to you by the creator of the universe to share what's inside of you. When you know who you are at the core of your being, you will stand confidently without validation. And it is in that moment, at that time, that the world will receive what they really need. Think about it like this. Imagine that person that you that you really appreciate. You respect them in every way. You feel that when they speak, the world needs to listen. A lot of times when they are sharing the information, they're just sharing how they feel, but they stand in it so confidently. It makes you feel like, hey, they have got to know what they're doing because of the confidence that you see exuding off of their being. When you decide to stand confidently in what you need to share, you do not need anybody else's permission to shine. What you have is valuable. Define your worth and your purpose and your values, and it is there that you'll be able to gain the confidence that you need to stand without seeking someone else's approval for it. Here's a third thing I want you to do. He looked at me like I was crazy, but I knew what I had to do. It was time for him to go. So I packed up his things. Red alert. Is he the one? The pocket guide, the fine and love of your life, tells my story. The free chapter is available for you in the link below. Let fear fuel you. Too many times we're in a place where we allow fear to hold us hostage, to keep us at bay. I don't want you to get the thought process that if you are moving forward with confidence and courage, taking action the way you need to take action, that you do not have fear. It's a misnomer that courage exists without fear. No, I want you to know that you can continue to press forward with what I often hear Lisa Nichols say, your knees knocking and your teeth chattering. Stand, move, do what you need, fear and awe. Here's something that I often do when I feel afraid. Your body is holding the tension because you have made yourself so anxious. So release the tension that's inside of your being. I take a moment and clench, hold really tight, really tight, really tight, and release. And if you got to do that a couple of times, do so, because in that moment, you're harnessing all of that tension that's inside of your body. And then when you release it, your brain gets a thought process that you have let go the pain, let go the chaos, and the fear will be diminished. Be okay with the fear that you feel, because it means that when you open your mouth, when you share because you need to speak, it's the action of doing that gives you the confidence. And when you decide to open your mouth, it will be something worth. Because like I stated, you would have grounded inside of your purpose and your values. That will give you the assurance that this fear, use it as just fuel to keep you moving. Don't avoid it. Use it as a stepping stone to get to your next trajectory. Because too many times we are walking in the middle of the thought process that if we are moving forward in faith, we don't have fear. Here's what I want you to recognize. Faith and fear are the exact same thing. I bet you didn't consider that. See, it takes faith to move forward. Fear will move you backward. But in both of them, you have got to believe. When you have faith in something, you believe that what you are expecting will come to pass. When you fear something, you believe that what you are expecting will come to pass. So now is the time for you to make a decision. Either you will move forward in faith, because fear is the exact same thing. Just keep moving it forward. Take the action that is needed now in order for you to do the thing that you need to do, the thing that you desire to do, that thing, that one little thing that you are hesitating over that will springboard you into your next trajectory. Until for today, if anything that I've shared resonates with you, then it's time to reset. So like, comment, and share this information with others. But before I leave, I want to leave you with a next level note. I don't know how many of you have ever heard of the movie The 300. That movie is based off of a Bible story, but you didn't know that. If you open up the Bible and go to the book of Judges, there's this man in there named Gideon. Now, Gideon was the least of his father's children. He was the youngest out of the bunch, often tossed aside, kind of the black sheep of the family. Nobody ever really wanted to even acknowledge that he existed. Now, Gideon was hiding away because at that time, the Midianites was harassing the children of Israel. They would steal from them, take them, all the little things. Like you may be in an environment where somebody is harassing you, making you feel like the little bit that you have will be taken away at any time. Yeah, that was the experience that Gideon was having in his moment. And when Gideon was hiding away in fear, not letting the solutions that were in the midst of his soul be seen, God showed up, sent an angel to tell Midian that he was a mighty warrior. Sometimes when we're walking through those fearful moments in our lives, we need somebody to show up to let us know that there's a warrior inside of us, that we have the strength and the capability of moving forward in this thing called life. Because you will be afraid. There will be moments where it seems like everybody is taking something from you. But if you just stand in the truth, even if it's the truth that somebody else has to tell you outside yourself. So when the angel showed up and told Gideon that he was a mighty warrior, Gideon did not believe it. When you have walked in fear for so long, you won't believe when somebody tells you, let your brilliance shine, let your truth be known. You'll hide away. And in your hiding away, you may need some assurance. So Gideon needs some assurance. So he asked for whatever he needed was assurance. Ask God to reveal to him a couple different times just so he can have the knowing that this is really what I was supposed to do. If you feel that you need a few elements of those stepping stone moments of saying, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, seek it. Get your confidence in the assurance that you need. If you have to have something that lets you know that things will be okay, seek it. And that's all right. Because when Gideon finally got sure, even though he was still afraid, because if you read the story, he did a couple of things that just made no sense. But when you look at it through the lens of being afraid, it made a lot of sense. So Gideon ended up finally seeking an army to fight the Midianites, to take back what was truly theirs. He gathered 32,000 men. That's a great army, except for the fact that the Midians had over 100,000. Anyway, that 32,000, when he went to seek God for assurance, because sometimes you only get assurance between you and God alone will be able to let you know that where you're stepping, what you're doing, there's enough brilliance in you to let your light so shine, so do it. And when God shared with Midian, you got too many people. Now, if you are coming up against an army of 100,000 and you only have 32,000 people, and you and your quiet time with God, he tells you that's too many people, and it'll do something to you. But Gideon, at this point, decided that he found his confidence and courage in who God is. There will be something in your life that will give you the thought process that this is too much, and what I have now I need to hold on to. But if you let Jesus join you on the journey, he will give you the confidence to release the things that he says release, and will give you the strength and the confidence to press through that thing that will support you. Now, when Gideon made a decision to follow God's instruction to release those that were scared, just didn't want to be there, he ended up with less than half his army. When he went back to God and said, okay, we're going up against 100,000 people, and now I got about a tenth of that number. Can I go fight now? But because he found his confidence in who God is, you see, his faith helped him move forward, even though fear was still there. Because like I said, faith and fear are the exact same things. It's your expectation. So either you'll move forward in your expectation or you'll move backwards in your expectation. And just because you have faith, it does not mean that you no longer have fear. You're just making a decision to point into the direction that you need. So moving inside of the positive direction of his expectations, he sought God to let his faith fuel him to move forward. And God said, that's still too many people. Now think about this. You got 100,000 soldiers that you have to go up against that's been harassing you day after day, moment after moment, in your entire country. isn't even trying to put up a battle. And you get the courage to move forward and the confidence to stand. All of a sudden, God says, still, there's too many people. God whittled his army down to 300. And it is there that we meet up with the movie about the 300. But here's the thing. The part that I love about reading the biblical story. You see, in the biblical story of the 300, when Gideon was left with that number of individuals, God gave him a strategy that gave him support. Because you will not always be in a position where you can go fighting forward like we saw in the movie. Sometimes your strategy will have to be small moments of standing, small moments of circumventing, small moments of doing things that don't make a lot of sense. There may be something in your life that you are experiencing that conventional knowledge says has to be done this way, but you get insight for a strategy that's a little bit different, for a strategy that nobody ever heard of. But that strategy, when you have the confidence to stand in it, you can walk into a boardroom, present your information, share what is needed, and turn things around. Today, I want you to be like Gideon. Move forward in faith. Whether you have to keep doing it with your knees knocking and your teeth chattering, do it. Because that will give you the assurance to move forward into a better direction. And if you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, TanyaEhood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.